Private buyers will waste your time. Dealers will lowball you. So what's the best way to sell your old car? Trading in versus selling your car privately, this is one of the most common debates when it comes to car ownership. And I want to be clear, this isn't a video trying to push you one way or the other. In reality, I've been trying to make this video for over 10 years and I want to do it in the most non-biased way that I can. And there's no videos like this on the internet currently, and there probably will never be one this detail-oriented in the future. So I don't care what route you take, I just want to help you make the right decision for your individual situation. At the end of the day though, I am a dealer, and yes, I have to give a little shameless plug that if you are looking to sell your car or trade it in, please give us a call here at Mike's Car Store. But this video, this is about helping you figure out what works best for you. And the biggest thing to remember, what's right for you might not be wrong for someone else, and vice versa. If you go online and post, should I trade in or sell privately? You're gonna get spammed with comments going for both ways. Don't trade, the dealerships are gonna lowball you. Trade it in, blah, 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 right? And look, I get it. A lot of people have had bad experiences with trade-in values, but the truth is the opinion doesn't come with any context. When you go out there and someone says, hey, don't trade your car in, ask them for a paragraph of why they feel that way. They probably can't come up with that way because their opinion is based off of someone else's opinion that they don't have context on either. They don't know your car. They don't know your situation, they don't know your timeline, and most importantly, they probably don't know your finances. So block out the noise and focus on what makes most sense for you personally. And I think there are some major questions to consider. One is the biggest one. Do you have a payoff on your current car? Because if you do, it can take 20 to 30 days to get your title after your loan is paid off. And in most cases, people don't have that money laying around. So they have to pay the car off based off of selling the car. And trust me, I've paid off thousands of vehicles. This time frame of 20 to 30 days to get the title is real. And most buyers are not gonna wait that long to get a title, and or they may not even buy a car from you because of the title. I mean, after all, if you meet someone on Facebook Marketplace, or if you list your cars on a website or whatever the case may be, and they're like, oh yeah, give me $60,000, or let's just say $10,000, and I'll give you the title in 30 days, they can't drive the car for 30 days because there's no plate on it. Are you gonna leave your plate on it so they can rack up tolls or commit crimes or anything like that? Most won't. So kind of keep that in mind when you're selling it on private market when you have a payoff. So what kind of car are you trading in? It's another big one. If you're sitting on an older car or something vintage, like say maybe a mint 80s Camaro or something like that, that's not what every dealer wants to stock. For them, they're gonna probably lowball you because they're not interested in the car. For me, an 80s Camaro is probably worth $100 on trade-in. It's not something I want. I just took in a 1995 K1500 Silverado. Like, I know the market on these things, but it's not really for me, and I gave the guy 500 bucks for it, because what it was probably worth for me is a lot. But I just turned around and flipped it at wholesale and we're done. But on the private market, someone will pay happily for a premium on these cars. So you have to know your market. On the flip side, if it's a late model commuter car, it's 3 years old, an SUV, something like that, most dealers want that stuff, so they're willing to put some money into that, but not all dealers want to do it. You have a Honda Pilot that's 4 years old, a Chevy dealership's probably not going to want that untraded, so you can look at different options to do that as well. But you have to know what your car is actually worth. So before you decide whether to sell or trade, you need to know exactly what it is worth. And there's a lot of things that people do to go wrong. You probably are going to go to sites like KBB Instant Cash Offer, Edmunds, Car Gurus. They've all can give you numbers, but here's what most people don't realize. Those tools are just lead generators for dealers. There's a reason why they ask you for your name, phone number, and email address. If they're doing it out of their kindness of their hearts, just like KBB does, that's not always accurate. They're designed to send info to dealerships to get paid for the leads. That's why they're doing that. That doesn't mean that they're bad, but they should be used as a guide and not the gospel. Even if you want a more realistic value, you need to do a lot of work. It takes me as a dealer just a few minutes because I pay thousands of dollars per month for a software, but you have to compare the same year, the same mic, the same trim, the engine, the mileage. You have to compare all of that dead on. And just because you have 80,000 miles and there's a car out there with 78,000 miles, that couple thousand miles can make a huge difference on the market because they're not getting the data that you are seeing that I do as a dealer of what 80,000 miles does to a car's value in some cases. So you have to check both private and dealer listing ads on websites like Car Gurus. I love Car Gurus. You got cars.com, you got Auto Trader, you got Edmunds, you got Auto Tempest that shows a lot of different cars as well. But you got to be honest with your car's condition, interior, wear, tires, paint, etc. This takes a lot of time, and it's one of the downsides when you're selling privately. And as I said earlier, as a dealer, I pay big money every month for software that instantly pulls live auction data, sales history, real-time market trends, that tells me how long cars are staying on the market, stuff that you can never find. It tells me the price trades, they're fast, they're accurate, and they're backed by actual data. And then I can go into auctions and see which ones are selling at auction for what price, what condition reports, all that stuff. So if you're selling privately, you have to put in the effort to make sure that your number is real. Or you just either price it too high to never get bites, or you're gonna price it too low and leave money on the table. And this also comes into play that you haven't done the right research of why people say they get lowballed at the dealers, because they feel that a car is worth X amount of money, but it's not. Many times, this is a dead question that I ask every single time when someone says, hey, you're not giving me enough money for my car. And of course, nobody's ever told me I've given them too much money for their car. I'm like, okay, well, based off of what research have you done to come up with this, okay? And they don't usually have any, or they say Kelley Blue Book or JD Power, which is formerly NADA. That's not good research. You're talking that to get the values, you're talking about an hour to an hour and a half worth of work. It's that much work for you guys as private individuals. And I think there's 5 major areas that really separate trading in versus selling privately. Convenience and hassle is one of those. Trading in is super, super simple, right? You drop it off, you sign some paperwork, and you're done. Selling privately means that you're dealing with photos, listing, messaging strangers, negotiating. You're gonna have to do all that research I just mentioned about on making sure you have the right value. All of that good stuff. And I've actually done a video on the Mike's Car Store YouTube channel titled How to Sell Your Car Privately Without a Dealer. Let me say that again. How to sell your car without a dealer. You need to go watch that. It goes into great detail on exactly how to sell your car without a dealer that I can't get involved on this one. But most importantly, you have to think about safety and scams. Trading in, no strangers, no risk, right? You just go to a dealer and you're done with it. Selling privately, you're meeting with people at all hours of the day. You want to invite people over to your house. You're going to meet in public somewhere. You don't know sometimes with cash or test drives, it's risky, especially if you're not following safety protocols. And many people think this, but they don't know how to react to it. Safety protocols is so important. Recently, there was just an instance that somebody was shot 5 times for selling a computer at a gas station. A computer!
This is the result of a Facebook marketplace sale gone wrong. Take a look here.
Now imagine if your car is involved. We got all sorts of instances recently on that. We have people taken for test drives that don't come back.
Her husband greeted the man 2 Sundays ago and let him take it for a test drive alone because he seemed genuine.
We've got fake checks, we got people pulling gun points. There was an instance about 7 or 8 years ago here locally that somebody was driving a Dodge Charger. The owner of the vehicle went with them. The prospective buyer was driving. He stops on the side of the road, pulls a gun, says, "Get out of my car right now." Guy gets out of the car, puts his hand up, and they drive off. They never saw that car ever again because it was a fake Facebook profile, fake name, everything like that. So safety is so important on all of this, and it's crazy on how bad stupid people do to get stuff for free. You got fake checks, you got fake wire transfers, you got fake cash. There's all of this stuff as well. So my best recommendation on this is always meet at a police station. This is a public property and you're 100% legal to do business there. This is public property, right? We pay, this is our taxpayers. So use those police stations accordingly in the publicly accessible areas. So biggest thing too, is financing and payoff hassles. I talked about this a little bit earlier. Are these people getting a loan in the car? Dealers can handle that easily even if they have negative equity. Selling it privately means either paying off your loan first or coordinating a payoff with a stranger who may not trust the process. So that's a big thing too. If you have a payoff and you owe $10,000 on that car but it's only worth $5,000, you got to pay that $5,000 to the bank immediately. Don't sit there and be like, oh, I'll pay the $5,000 off and I'll talk to the bank and see if I can get a $5,000 loan. Now you're screwing over that prospective buyer on that stuff. So you have to pay that car off immediately. There's no loans, there's nothing like that. You can't put $5,000 on a credit card to pay off that loan. It just doesn't work that way. The next thing is the time factor. You can trade in your car and drive off with a new one the same day. Selling privately, you might be waiting weeks for someone to show up, negotiate, and then all of a sudden they just ghost you. You don't do this every single day. There are many questions that you don't get answered. I ask a lot of questions in the car process for various reasons. One, I want to help out my customers to meet all their wants and needs. Two, it's for scam and fraud prevention as well. There are many questions you don't answer like I just mentioned. One of those is, how are they going to pay for it? You don't ask that question because it's awkward to you. For me, it's roll of the tongue. I ask every single person how they're going to pay for it. Many banks won't finance a private sale. Some people don't realize that and don't do their homework beforehand because they want to find the car first and then go get the loan, which they should never do. But some people are wishing and hoping to get financed. So if they're like, oh, this is a $5,000 car, I'm going to hope that my bank will give it to me. So now they're just wasting your time. Or you got the infamous scenario of, I'm waiting on the money. I got a settlement come in, or whatever the case may be. I'm going to do taxes, whatever the case may be. Again, they're just wasting your time. There's literally millions of scenarios. And then you have the tax savings to think about. In many states, when you trade in a car, the value is deducted from the price of the new car for tax purposes. So if you have a $10,000 car and you have a $10,000 trade-in, you pay no taxes. If you have a $20,000 car and a $10,000 trade-in, you only pay tax on $10,000. So you have to figure that in, is can you sell your car for more than the tax credit and then some profit, so to speak, of what your car is worth to make up for the time that you have to do in all of this. This can save you hundreds, if not thousands, in sales tax. It's a huge win for people, and they most likely overlook a lot of times when they're comparing offers. Now that you have all that, I want to do a little recap called Sell If, Trade If. And this is where I want to get super hyper focused with all the information that I've just taught you, so that way you have kind of a really good game plan. So let's do Sell If. Sell if you have a high demand or specialty vehicle. That means an older vehicle, a vintage vehicle, stuff like that. Not gonna trade that in, you're gonna sell it. Sell if you want the absolute highest price possible. You're gonna take in a grant that, hey, I'm making more than tax credit, worth my time, stuff like that. Sell if you're in no rush to sell and have time to wait. That doesn't mean every car sale privately is gonna take months and months and months. You could list it and have it sold in an hour, but you have to know that going into it, that it could take some time for you to sell that car. Sell it if you fully understand the risk and are prepared to handle them. That means, could you get a gun pulled on you? Is there fraud involved? Is there scams involved? Like I said earlier, go to a police station. And sell if you have written SOPs, standard operating procedures, in place for safety, especially when meeting strangers. And I'm talking about you write them down. This isn't, oh, I'm gonna do it this way, this way. You write down what is your non-negotiables. I will not meet at night. I will not meet at your house. You are not allowed to come to my house. You are not going to XYZ. You gotta have your whys and your standard operating procedures in place and in writing to ensure that you're doing it correctly. If you don't do it in writing, you're making a major fail. So trade if. Trade if you want the easiest and most convenient transaction. Trade in if you have a payoff and can't afford to pay the difference out of pocket. Trade if the car is less than 3 years old and fits dealer's inventory. Many times 3-year-old cars and newer are very difficult to sell. Trade if you want zero liability. Something I didn't talk about is when you sell your car privately, you have the option of getting sued. We are in a country right now that you can sue for anything you want. I don't like the color of hat you're wearing. I'm suing you in small claims court. It's possible. I have a friend who sold a car privately and he got sued and had to pay the customer the $3,000 back, and he did nothing wrong. So be careful about the liability. At the end of the day, you've got to do what works best for you. And as a shameless plug, if you want a no obligation cash offer and want to explore selling your car to us here at Mike's Car Store, please reach out. And most importantly, watch this video right here to save on your next car, and this video right here to not get scammed.